So I've been testing this product for the past 2 days now, and there are some interesting features that I find useful. This is the Alpsolar S3 6 kilowatt, and that is Bicodi 5 kilowatt hours lithium battery. So both of them are 48 volt system. The 6 kilowatt inverter can support up to 12 kilowatt in panel, meaning you can use 10 kilowatt out of this power, and 7.2 kilowatt from that can be used to charge your battery, while the remaining 3 kilowatt will power your load at the same time. So with 1.8 million naira, you can get this combo right now in the market. So the promo will end on 24th of this month. So you can reach out to us if you are interested in that. What I want to give you is more than the promotion. Let me show you the exciting feature on this inverter. You might also find it interesting. So let's go into the menu and see that. First thing that caught my attention on the manual is the startup voltage. Okay, so you can see the startup voltage is only 70 volt, meaning with just 2 panels, you can start using panel on this system, and you can connect string up to 9 units of 550 watt panel in series. The MPPT range is 60 volt to 450 volt, and it supports up to 28 amps and maximum of 40 amps ISC. One thing I like about this manual is that the English is not Chinese English. These are the English anyone can easily understand. So to enter the settings, we need to go to the screen, press the enter button for 3 seconds until the settings menu show up. Here is 0, so let's start. So we have the I, which represents the inverter settings. Okay, so SUB, you can see what this means. You can pause the video to see that. You can set your load priority here on 1. On 2, you can set your charging priority. Another thing I like about this is that you have an auto start. So auto start function allows your switch to turn on and off the system. So if you use the switch, you'll be able to turn off and on the system. But if you disable this feature, you will not be able to turn on the system with your switch. Okay, so if you put this off like this, only the app will control this system, so you can turn it on and off only from the app. That is very useful. Another feature is that there is 0 ground fault detection, so you can have it on and off. Another one is earth leakage. I like these other features as well, the leakage current function. Okay, so if there's earth leakage somewhere, you can use this inverter to detect, so no more blowing off inverters. The next one is the PV settings. This supports 1 string or 2 string in parallel, so you can change that. So let's go to the battery settings now. So the battery setting is 3, so if we click on that, you have the option to choose DC. Okay, DC means you don't want to use battery, you just want to use panel directly. That's a great one. And you can select lead acid, you can select lithium. Lithium is my choice. Okay, so I use lithium. Maximum charging is 125 on this model. Okay, so discharge also 125. So you can set the maximum charge and discharge on the inverter itself. That gives you control. The next control is the battery stop charging SOC. So if you want the battery to even stop charging at 80%, you can do that, which is very great. You can say the battery should stop charging at 80%. Cut off also, you can control it. You can cut off my battery when it's at 60%. You can also do that as well. That's another interesting feature I found about this system. So let's move on. The charging voltage, this will be read from the BMS, because the BMS take control of all this. So if you are not doing communication, you will have all these in voltages. So let's skip all those. So if you are doing lead acid, then you have to set those parameters. So if you want to communicate your battery, so like we are communicating now, so all we did was to select O4. O4 is the pylon protocol, which is a universal protocol for all lithium batteries. So to communicate this battery, all you need to do is simple. So you can see here we have the BMS port connected. Then we go to the CAN port. So you can see over there, that's the CAN port on the Bicodi battery. Then you select the pylon tech protocol, which is O4. Once you select pylon tech protocol O4 here, the inverter and the battery, Bicodi battery, will communicate. Very simple. The next thing is the battery wake up function. This inverter can wake up a dead lithium battery, and you can choose not to even use that function. So you can have it on and off, and you can also set the voltage at which it will send to the inverter from 40 to 60 volts. That's interesting. I leave it on. 54 volts is what we set here. And you can also set the duration as well, which is 60 seconds and B16. So we also have the utility settings. So we set this to appliances. So you can also set the output voltage. The default is 230. I always like to use 230. Okay, the frequency, you can leave it on that. We have parallel function on this inverter as well. So you can do parallel, 3-phase, single phase, and all. So I'm not doing that for now. That is it. So there's a smart load port here. So you can see there's a smart load port on the load 2. Okay, so that smart load port, what does it do? It allows you to control some certain load in your house. Okay, so this inverter can act as two inverters. Output 1 will go to some load and output 2 to go to other load. And you can see this is the percentage at which that smart load will turn on and turn off. And if you want it to always be on, and if you want it to cut off by voltage, so the option is there. And another interesting thing is that you can set the time of the day you want to use this smart load option. You can set that, okay, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. you want your smart load to be on and off outside that time. So you can also set when the LCD will time out. This is an interesting feature that is not available on most of these inverters. In the next video, I'll be showing you how to connect the Wi-Fi port. All right, thank you.